How's it going, guys? I got a pick here in this Week 7 matchup. We got Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati Bengals. This is a bit of an interesting matchup. We got a division rival on our hand. We see Steelers being pretty sizable favorite at minus 255 money line, while the Bengals on the other line are money line at plus 210. With that over and under set at 45.5. If we look at the spread, we see the spread at 5.5. It's kind of jumping around. I've even seen 4.5. I would say anywhere from that 4.5 to 5.5 area. But what I'm currently looking at is William Hill. So I'm seeing that minus 5.5 for that spread. Like I said, if we look at this matchup, it's an interesting one because it's a division game. It's a division game that we've seen a lot of. Like this is a historical matchup throughout NFL. I think most people that are NFL fans and watch football know about this matchup, and kind of how the roots, how deep between the two. I believe most times when we've seen these matchups, the one thing that we can guarantee is big hits, big plays, big popping plays, just grinding it out, grimy defense, and just very, very violent football. I guess you can put it in a sense. The thing about the Bengals is most people know we obviously have injuries all around, especially when it comes to Joe Burrow. They are currently last in allowed yards after contact for the defense as well. So not even just the struggles that we've seen from the offense, like I said, having Joe Burrow out. We've seen the defense struggle as well. They're, like I said, last in allowing yards after contact. So that's just something that you never really want to see from your defense, especially when, like I said, you have Joe Burrow, which is already out, which is a big impactful player. There's three players: T. Higgins, Joe Burrow, and Jamar Chase, that are pretty much taking the lump sum of the salary for the Bengals team. So when you see a player like Joe Burrow being out, pretty much diminishes everything that they've been paying for, because in order to get the balls to the other two, you need to have someone like Joe Burrow. So they made this decision to bring Joe Flacco in, which I believe Joe Flacco fits the system pretty decently well. I think that he fits in because he's not going to take the game in his own hands, in the sense of he's not going to run it. He's not going to make irrational decisions. He's going to make the decision for the team, and I believe he's going to be more calm, a veteran that just needs to get the ball out to his star talents, like I said, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I believe he fits them perfectly because of those reasons, to be able to get that ball out to them. I think he is a player that fits very well in the scheme that the Bengals are currently using. So I think they will look better compared to having Browning, which they previously had. The first half was a little bit rough for them. They did not score any points against the Packers. But the second half, there was a little bit promising. They did get the ball to Jamar Chase 10 times, like I said, which is pretty promising. But then if you look on the other end, Steelers, like I said, how Bengals were the worst for the defense and contact yards after contact. We actually see the quite opposite from Steelers' offense, and they're actually number one when it comes to yards after contact, which is very huge, I believe, and is going to make a big difference in this matchup. I mean, it's kind of hard already for the Bengals going into this game, how banged up they are, but like I said, already just having the fact that Steelers, how good they are after they've been touched and after they've been, attempted at a tackle, they've been able to get the most yards than anybody in the league. And then to see that they're facing a defense has just been absolutely horrible in those positions. It's just not what you want to see when you're the Bengals side of ball. Another thing is that the Steelers have taken the ball away turnovers wise. They've only turned the ball over 3 times, and they've actually have 10 turnovers, so that the difference is +7. They're third in the league currently right now. Like I said, with that difference, as compared to the other side, the Bengals have turned the ball over 11 times, which is just unacceptable. There's been a few games where they haven't turned the ball at all, but then the games that they have, they've turned the ball over like substantially, like 3+ times, like something that you cannot allow. Like, you're not gonna win a game if you're turning the ball over three, 4, 5 times. You're just not. I don't really have to explain that to most people to know that if you're turning the ball over. So The thing that makes this interesting for the Bengals is just kind of how the struggles of Mike Tomlin has been on Thursday Night Footballs. On Thursday Night Footballs, Mike Tomlin is actually 2-9 in his whole career, so he has been very not really profitable in those spots. Like I said, I think that he's gonna know that going into this week, and I think that he's gonna have to give a little kick into his team to kind of turn those odds around. I mean, Mike Tomlin is such a winning coach in every aspect of the game. In my eyes, he's pretty much one of the best coaches of all time, especially one of the most winningest coaches. To see him have a 2-9 record on Thursday Night Football, such an important part of the season when you're playing those primetime games, especially coming off of a short week. To see them be 2-9 under the coaching staff of Mike Tomlin is just not what you want to really see. Even more to kind of add on to that, they actually have 4 straight road losses on Thursday Night Football. So just really hasn't been good on that Thursday Night Football. They're pretty much a different team, you could say, because how Mike Tomlin has been so winning. But I think this season we have seen a lot of things turn out differently than what we're used to. So I don't know if we could put that into play as much, but it's just something that is interesting. As well as the last 3 times Steelers have gone to Bengals' home, they've won those matchups. So I think that is another thing that's interesting, because Steelers going away, for them to have been them the last 3 times, and the last 3 times they've actually had Burrow and have had those players that that they're missing currently. I do think that does make a difference, especially when we see this matchup right now. I think it even more puts it in the favorite of the Steelers' hands. The thing that does make me feel a little concerned is they only have 2 receivers over 100 yards, which is Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf. Calvin Austin going into this matchup is out currently, and DK Metcalf has 19 receptions for 350 yards. He's going to be the prime target this game, and I'm a little nervous if the Bengals can shut him down, what they're going to do. I think a big thing that the Steelers are going to have to do is get the ball out to Warren, the running back, which is pretty much the next in line receiver when it comes to amount of yards this season under receptions. He's pretty much their second option besides, like I said, Calvin Austin, in which he's out. They're definitely going to have to mix things up and figure out ways to win, in which I'm pretty confident Mike Tomlin can. Like I said, he's pretty much one of the most winningest coaches of all time. He just knows how to do the thing really well, and just really rally up his team and his players. Another thing that scares me for the Bengals is they have Hendricks, which is potentially out, which is their best player pretty much right now on defense. So that is scary. They've only had 7 runs with 10 plus yards, the Bengals, and only 10 pass plays with 20 plus more yards. So they really haven't been explosive. So like I said, I know they've had struggles on this offense, but to not even really have explosive plays with players like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is pretty unacceptable. I could see it being more where you can't get those third downs and those short plays, but those long bombs where those talents that you have of T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, this just needs to happen. And I think it will happen more with having Joe Flacco at quarterback. But we've seen him struggle, so are we going to bank on that much during this short week that we see? I don't think so. I think it's going to take a while for the Bengals to have Joe Flacco really be in play. I think it's going to take a minute for him to get his scheme lined up with the Bengals. I don't think it's just going to be after week 1, after week 2, nothing like that. It's definitely more of a long-term play to have someone like Joe Flacco come in and see if they can make a difference. Steelers defense have been improving, which do make me feel good. They have been healthy. They have a lot of guys on the teams coming from other teams this offseason. So they're finding a way to mesh together. And I think going into this week 7 off of a bye, I think that this is a perfect opportunity for them. I think that they're going to pretty much hit the peak that they have currently on their defense, and they're going to perform at their top level. Like I said, we've seen Mike Tomlin struggle on Thursday Night Footballs, and I think he's going to rally his team to get together and really try to perform and show up this Thursday night and really prove to everybody that the Steelers are really here to contend this season, and they're not here to brush away the year. They pretty much have put a stamp on their division, and they're ahead, I believe, like 3 games. If they win this, they're ahead like 2 games. If they win this game, they will be up 3.5 games. So they're really trying to put a stamp on it and make sure that they lead the division and take it. I really do like this position that the Steelers are in, especially with how much they pressure and blitz the quarterback and how the struggles that Joe Flacco has when he is under pressure. He's thrown a lot of turnovers over when he's under pressure, as well as he has a 40 pass rating when he is under pressure. So, like I said, really not the best, especially when we see issues at O-line from the Bengals. Overall, really struggling spot for the Bengals. We've known that pretty much week by week since Joe Burrow been out, but I think this is just a tough spot coming off a short week against a division rival that has a very lot of experience and have a lot of their pieces have stuck together and throughout the weeks and have not seen too many injuries. And we see a veteran coach in Mike Tomlin and quarterback. I really do like the Steelers in this spot. I'm not too sure full game, honestly. If I feel too confident about taking Steelers with the points, I do feel good about them taking them as a whole, full game. I do believe that the Steelers will win this game. I think the thing that makes me most nervous is because division rival games, the team that is home typically will cover ATS wise. This season, I'm talking specifically, I have noticed that even more. But we are talking a very different circumstance when we're talking about this Bengals team. The best thing I like in this game is Steelers first half. They have Steelers first half at -3. The Steelers in their 5 games, they're 5-0 on their first half, as well as Bengals have just scored 9 points through their last 4 games. They put up 3 against the Vikings first half, 3 against Broncos, 3 against Lions, and 0 against the Green Bay Packers the last 4 games. So cumulative just 9 points through 4 games. Like I said, Steelers have 5-0. There's the 5 games that they've played for the first half. So I would lay that 3. I don't mind it, seeing that they've only really been able to put up a field goal. This Bengals offense in this first half. I do like this Steelers -3 in the first half. If I had to attack this game, that would be what I would be attacking at that -115 price. I don't mind the money line for that first half at -185. If I were to attack that at -185, I would most likely parlay that. So it brings the odds down, but also something I feel confident in to add to a little parlay. As well as, I do like Jaylen Warren for his over receptions. Like I did say earlier, that they do have their second receiver, Calvin Austin, out. So I do think they will be looking to use Jaylen Warren a lot more. He is already a receiver that does get like 3 to 4 plus catches a game. So I do see that 16.5 reception yards definitely being possible, and definitely a probable pick if I had to take it. That will be my picks if I did have to take a game, especially that first half. If you guys did like my thoughts and opinions on this matchup, please like and subscribe. It really does help me. I am on a pretty big hot streak. My last 11, I have hit 8. So I'm 8-3 my last 11. So if you guys just look back in the videos, you guys will see. Definitely want to try to ride this hot streak on the going on to the Sunday slate. So let's definitely try to do as best as possible during this Thursday. Would like to get some money in my pocket so that we have some good stuff to do Sunday. So like I said, if you guys have liked this video and like my thoughts, please subscribe and comment and stuff. Really just helps me, especially if you guys give your thoughts and opinions on the games and just what you guys thought about the matchup even after the fact. So see you guys Sunday, and let's do this thing Thursday.